Welcome to the life and tragic death of Tom Fogerty. Join us as we explore the music, struggles, and remarkable journey of the Creedence Clearwater Revival co-founder, whose timeless melodies continue to inspire generations of music lovers around the globe. So let's dive in. Thomas Richard Fogerty, born November 9, 1941 in Berkeley, California, United States of America. Growing up in El Cerrito, near San Francisco, the Fogerty family was deeply musical, with 5 brothers sharing a home. John, the middle brother, was born in 1945, while Tom, the second oldest, showed early promise as a musician. Their mother, Lucille Fogerty, played a significant role in fostering their musical interests. Encouraged by her, Tom studied music and became proficient with instruments like the violin and accordion. However, a leg injury interrupted his sporting ambitions, leading him to focus more on music. Despite the challenges posed by their parents' divorce in the 1950s, Lucille worked tirelessly to support her 5 sons, even pursuing a teaching degree while holding a full-time job. Her love for folk music influenced the brothers, as she often took them to local festivals featuring artists like Pete Seeger and Ramblin' Jack Elliott. It was in this environment that John and Tom developed their musical skills, with John and Tom bonding over rented electric guitars for $5 a month. Tom's musical journey began during his high school years, where he delved into the world of rock and roll. Alongside his younger brother John, the two pursued their musical passions separately, each leading their own groups. Tom found himself fronting the band SpiderWed&TheInsects, which notably included Jeremy Levine of The Seeds. Despite signing a recording contract with Delphi Records, the group disbanded in 1959 before releasing any records. Meanwhile, John's group, the Blue Velvets, started backing Tom, eventually leading to Tom joining forces with them. Together, they recorded 3 singles for Orchestra Records between 1961 and 1962, with Tom taking the lead vocals, marking the early stages of his musical career. Songs, Come On Baby, Oh My Love, and Have You Ever Been Lonely, Bonita, collaborated by both Tom and John. Despite receiving some airplay from local DJ Casey Kasem, these tracks failed to gain widespread popularity. Similarly, their efforts with Yes You Did, Now You're Not Mine, also went unnoticed by the broader audience. Meanwhile, Tom's personal life was evolving. He married his high school sweetheart, Gail, and they started a family, welcoming 2 children. Alongside his musical pursuits, Tom balanced his career, working for a local utility company. By 1963, the younger band members had completed high school and took on various local jobs, such as working in gas stations, as janitors, and truck drivers. Stu Cook and Doug Clifford pursued college education while the band continued to perform on weekends and holidays. Against their wishes, label boss Max Weiss changed the band name to the Gollywogs. By the mid-1960s, the group secured a recording deal with Fantasy Records, with both Tom and John Fogerty taking turns on lead vocals. During their Gollywogs era, Tom's role in the band was prominent, sharing lead vocals with John and co-writing most of their singles. After a change in ownership at Fantasy Records in 1966, the band agreed to adopt a new name, Creedence Clearwater Revival, known as CCR, was born. John went to college, but later in 1966 was drafted for military service. Despite Tom's significant contributions early on, by the time CCR began releasing music in 1968, upon John's return from service, John had assumed firm control over the band's musical direction, as Tom's role significantly diminished. In 1968, CCR gained attention nationwide with their cover of the 1956 rockabilly song, Susie Q, which received significant airplay in the San Francisco Bay Area and on Chicago's WLSAM. It became their second single and first top 40 hit, reaching number 11 on the charts. Their debut self-titled album also produced 2 other singles, a cover of Screamin' Jay Hawkins' I Put a Spell on You, reaching number 58, and Porterville, written during John's time in the Army Reserve and released on the Scorpio label. After their breakthrough, CCR embarked on tours and began recording their second album, Bayou Country, at RCA Studios in Los Angeles. Released in January 1969, the album peaked at number 7 and achieved platinum status, marking the start of their string of hit albums and singles. The single, Proud Mary, coupled with Born on the Bayou, reached number 2 on the Billboard chart, while the album featured covers like Good Golly Miss Molly, and the lengthy live favorite, Keep on Chooglin'. Bad Moon Rising, released in April 1969, also reached number 2 in the US and spent 3 weeks atop the UK singles chart. Their third album, Green River, released in August 1969, topped the Billboard 200 and went gold, featuring the hit single, Green River. The band continued touring, including notable performances at the Atlanta Pop Festival in July 1969 and the Woodstock Festival in August 1969. After Woodstock, CCR focused on their fourth album, Willie and the Poor Boys, released in November 1969. The LP featured hits like Down on the Corner and Fortunate Son, performed on The Ed Sullivan Show, and continued the band's signature sound with Fogerty originals and revamped Lead Belly covers. In 1969, CCR achieved remarkable chart success with 3 top 10 albums and 4 hit singles. They followed up with another double A-side hit, Travelin' Band, Who'll Stop the Rain, in January 1970, and prepared for their first European tour with new tracks, Up Around the Bend, and Run Through the Jungle, which became top 10 hits. Cosmo's Factory, released in July 1970, topped the charts for 9 weeks and included hits like Lookin' Out My Back Door. Pendulum, released in December 1970, continued their success with the hit, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, featuring Hammond B3 organ, paying homage to Booker T and the MGs. Only one of Tom's compositions, Walk on the Water, made it onto a CCR album, which was credited to both John and Tom as per their joint composition agreement from their early days. As tensions mounted within the band due to a perception of John's control, Tom reached a breaking point. Frustrated by the lack of opportunity to contribute his own material and sing, he resigned from CCR in early 1971, shortly after the recording of Pendulum. His departure became public in February of that year. Initially, the remaining members considered finding a replacement, but ultimately chose to continue as a trio. After departing from CCR, Tom embarked on a solo career, releasing albums like Tom Fogerty and Excalibur. He had minor hits such as Goodbye Media Man, Cast the First Stone, Joyful Resurrection, and BART. Tom's debut solo album reached number 78 on the Billboard 200 chart. During 1971 and 1972, he played rhythm guitar in the Saunders Garcia Band, often in Bay Area clubs. His second album, Excalibur, featured Jerry Garcia and Merle Saunders. Stu Cook, Doug Clifford, and John Fogerty collaborated with him on his 1974 album, Zephyr National, marking a partial CCR reunion on the track, Mystic Isle Avalon. After Zephyr National, Stu Cook and Doug Clifford also supported Tom on his fourth LP release of 1974 titled, Myopia. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Tom continued to record both solo and as part of the group Ruby. Later, he resigned with Fantasy Records. In October 1980, all 4 members of CCR reunited and performed at Tom's second wedding reception to Tricia Clapper, marking their first performance together in a decade. They reunited once more for a final performance at a school reunion 3 years later, with Tom living in Scottsdale, Arizona, for the remainder of his life. In the years following his departure from CCR, Tom frequently voiced his frustration that his contributions to the band's early days were not fully recognized. Despite singing lead on many recordings before 1966, co-writing material with John during their earlier band days, and handling much of the band's business affairs in the pre-CCR era, Tom felt overlooked. Personally, Tom Fogerty was married twice. His first marriage was to his childhood sweetheart, Gail Skinner, in the 1960s. Later, he married Tricia Clapper in 1980. Tom is survived by 6 children. The tragic demise of Tom added another layer of sorrow to the strained relationship between the brothers, which had already grown distant during the 1980s. In the pursuit of relief from his back issues, Tom underwent surgery in the 1980s, leading to an unscreened blood transfusion that resulted in him contracting HIV. This ultimately led to AIDS, accompanied by complications from tuberculosis, culminating in his passing on September 6, 1990. He was 48 years old. At Tom's funeral, his brother John delivered the eulogy, reflecting, "We wanted to grow up and be musicians. I guess we achieved half of that. Becoming rock and roll stars. We didn't necessarily grow up." Tom was later cremated and his ashes scattered, as per his wishes. And there you have it. As we conclude, we reflect on the enduring legacy of a musician whose talent and passion enriched the landscape of rock and roll. Despite the challenges he faced, Tom Fogerty's music continues to resonate with fans worldwide, reminding us of his invaluable contributions to the golden era of rock. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching and bye for now.